Ever feel like creativity is this elusive superpower? Like some people just magically have it and others, no, just don't.
Yeah.
Well, get ready to unlock your own creative potential today as we delve into Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull, the man who helped bring Pixar's magic to life.
Right, and what's fascinating is that Catmull throws out that whole mystical gift idea of creativity.
Okay.
He breaks it down into practical principles that anyone from, animators to accountants can actually apply.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So it's less about being struck by a lightning bolt of inspiration and more about building a culture where those sparks can fly, right?
Exactly. Catmull argues that a company's culture can be even more impactful than its actual strategy. He really emphasizes building trust, not just trusting the process, but trusting the people. Hire talented individuals, give them the freedom to experiment, and then watch the magic happen.
He even talks about how physical space plays a role, like the shape of your meeting table can impact creativity.
Yeah, it sounds strange.
Yeah.
But he uses the example of a long, narrow table.
Okay.
It can actually hinder open communication, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, these subtle environmental factors can make or break a creative team.
So maybe ditching the boardroom for a more relaxed setting could help get those creative juices flowing. But having a free-for-all of ideas could also be chaotic, right? Catmull talks about the need for structure too, right?
Absolutely. One of the most interesting concepts he introduces is the brain trust.
Okay.
It's a team at Pixar dedicated to solving creative problems.
Okay.
Not by dictating solutions,
Right.
but by brainstorming and offering different perspectives.
So it's like having a built-in group of super smart friends who help you unstick your story without stifling your vision.
Exactly. They ask tough questions, push boundaries, and ensure that every idea, even the seemingly crazy ones, gets a fair hearing. Imagine the possibilities if companies embraced constructive criticism like Pixar.
Yeah.
Most are terrified of disagreements.
Speaking of fear, Catmull doesn't shy away from talking about failure, does he? In a results-driven world, it's a topic we often try to avoid.
He actually tackles it head on.
Okay.
He argues that failure isn't something to be avoided, but embraced. He sees it as a stepping stone in the creative process. To navigate it effectively, he highlights three powerful forces: patience, consistency, and authenticity.
Authenticity is a fascinating one. It's so easy to put on a brave face when we hit setbacks. So Catmull is encouraging us to acknowledge our struggles.
He is. He argues that acknowledging our struggles and being real about the challenges we face is incredibly powerful. And it's not just about being honest about our struggle, it's also about recognizing that our past successes don't guarantee future ones. Clinging too tightly to what worked before can actually stifle innovation, can't it?
It's like the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But sometimes you need to break things apart to make them better, to see how all the pieces fit together in a new way.
Precisely. Catmull emphasizes challenging assumptions, experimenting with new approaches, and asking what if. It's about cultivating a beginner's mind, that openness to new possibilities no matter how much experience you have.
That resonates with me. It's easy to get set in your ways to think you have it all figured out. So how does this beginner's mind translate to leadership? What's Catmull's take on the role of leadership in all of this?
He's a proponent of what he calls chameleon leadership.
Okay.
The idea that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. The most effective leaders adapt their style to different situations, and individuals constantly adjusting based on the needs of the team and the project.
So instead of trying to force everyone to conform to a single leadership mold, you're flexing your approach like a chameleon, changing its colors to blend in.
Yes. And a key aspect of this chameleon-like approach is creating a culture where disagreement is not only tolerated, but encouraged. Catmull argues that respectful dissent is essential for pushing past mediocrity and achieving those creative breakthroughs.
He talks about creating an environment where it's easy to disagree while preventing, resentment from festering, walking that fine line between healthy debate and destructive conflict.
Yeah.
How do you achieve that balance?
Catmull stresses that the goal isn't to avoid conflict altogether,
Right.
but to create a space where people can respectfully challenge each other's ideas, all in service of a shared goal. Think of it like a jazz band.
Okay.
Each musician can improvise and play a different tune, but it all comes together harmoniously in the end.
That's a great analogy. And it highlights that the shared goal should be excellence, not just avoiding conflict for the sake of harmony. But getting to that place of true creative synergy requires letting go of our egos, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Catmull reminds us that you are not your idea. It's a powerful distinction, allowing us to separate our identity from our work and view feedback as an opportunity for growth rather than a personal attack.
It's so easy to get defensive when someone critiques our work, especially when we've poured our heart and soul into it. But being able to take a step back, detach from the outcome, and objectively assess our work, that's a valuable skill.
It is, and Catmull suggests actively seeking out feedback from trusted colleagues,
Okay.
even if it means hearing things we might not want to hear.
Right.
He sees it as a form of creative mentorship, especially valuable for those just starting out.
That's where his point about interim support comes in, right? That early encouragement can be crucial for anyone feeling lost or discouraged in their creative journey. It's like having a guide in an unfamiliar forest.
Exactly. Catmull stresses nurturing new talent and creating a safety net for experimentation.
He believes that if you want people to take creative risks, they need to feel safe failing, knowing they have a support system to catch them if they stumble.
It makes sense. If you're constantly worried about making mistakes,
Yeah.
you're less likely to try anything truly innovative. You'll stick with what's safe and familiar, which can lead to stagnation for both the individual and the company.
He talks about the importance of acknowledging blind spots,
Yeah.
those areas where we can't see our own biases or assumptions. Often our successes can make us more vulnerable to these blind spots because they create a false sense of security.
Right.
We start thinking, this worked before it'll work again. But that can be a dangerous trap. We fall into that if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality, when in reality, the world around us is constantly changing. So we need to be adaptable, like those chameleons Catmull describes, constantly learning, evolving, questioning, and growing.
He reminds us that true creativity often emerges from discomfort. Those moments when we're forced to confront our limitations and push beyond what we thought was possible. But navigating those uncomfortable moments requires a strong sense of self-right.
He does talk about staying true to our values, even when things get tough. And one value he seems to hold above all else is a belief in the power of people.
Absolutely. He repeatedly emphasizes that Pixar's success isn't about technology or business models, it's about the people. Building a culture that fosters creativity starts with valuing individuals and their unique contributions.
He is a firm believer in hiring talented people and then giving them the freedom and support to do their best work, fostering collaboration over competition. It's about creating a space where everyone feels safe, heard, and empowered to contribute.
It's about fostering open communication dialogue and a shared commitment to excellence. He believes that when people feel valued, respected, and empowered, amazing things can happen.
It's not just about creating, like a feel-good environment. It's about fostering creativity, right? How does that focus on people actually translate into better creative output?
Exactly. Catmull believes that when people feel supported and trusted, they are more likely to, take those creative risks, share their ideas freely, and really collaborate effectively.
Right.
Ultimately leading to, more groundbreaking work. Think about it. Wouldn't you be more inclined to share that, out there idea if you knew your team had your back?
Totally. It makes sense. And it's not just about being nice, for the sake of it. It's about creating a culture that unleashes that full creative potential within a team. Catmull doesn't just talk about this, amazing culture, though. He actually gives advice on how to cultivate it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For instance, he really emphasizes making it easy for people to disagree, without fear of reprisal.
Right.
And really emphasizes learning from mistakes rather than punishing them. He also talks about celebrating successes no matter how small.
Right.
And fostering a culture of appreciation and gratitude.
Yeah.
It's about those, seemingly small things that actually make a huge difference.
So recognizing and valuing those contributions of each individual on the team. Exactly.
It's about acknowledging that everyone has something valuable to offer.
Right. Even those small gestures of appreciation can help build morale and that sense of camaraderie.
And that leadership piece feels key here too, right? It's not about wielding power from the top.
Right.
But, empowering everyone to do their best work.
Exactly.
It's about creating an environment of trust and mutual respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Catmull encourages leaders to listen more than they speak, to be humble, to create that space where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas and perspectives,
Yeah.
regardless of their position.
Right.
After all, the best ideas can come from anywhere, can't they?
Absolutely. That water cooler moment that sparks an innovative idea can come from anyone in the company. Catmull also talks about the importance of letting go, right?
Letting go of old ideas, old ways of doing things, even if they've been successful in the past. It's about, evolving with the times, embracing a more flexible mindset.
He emphasizes that the world is constantly changing, and to stay relevant, you need to adapt and evolve,
Right.
embracing uncertainty and new possibilities.
It's like that beginner's mind we talked about earlier.
Exactly.
Being open to new possibilities and ways of thinking.
Yeah.
Always striving to be better, both individually and as a team.
He uses that chameleon metaphor, not just to blend in, but to really assess the situation
Okay.
and respond in the most effective way possible. It's about being adaptable and decisive, taking action when needed.
That's an important distinction. Acknowledging problems isn't enough.
Right.
We need to take ownership of those problems and create solutions.
And Catmull reminds us that those solutions might require thinking outside the box, challenging our assumptions and trying something new.
It's about viewing problems as opportunities for growth rather than roadblocks.
Exactly. It's about approaching challenges with a sense of curiosity and possibility,
Right.
while also fostering a sense of shared responsibility.
So it's about creating a culture where people feel empowered to solve problems together.
Yes, when people feel ownership over their work, they're more likely to invest in finding those solutions. Catmull also reminds us that leadership isn't about having all the answers, but about creating an environment where everyone feels empowered to contribute.
It's about tapping into the collective brain power of the team and recognizing that those light bulb moments can come from unexpected places.
Right, he encourages leaders to be open to ideas from every level of the organization, to create those spaces for open dialogue, and to really foster a culture of continuous learning and improvement.
Yeah.
And just as importantly, staying true to your values,
Yeah.
even when faced with tough decisions.
Because at the end of the day, it's not just about hitting those goals, it's about how you get there.
Exactly.
It's about doing it in a way that aligns with your values and makes a positive impact.
He challenges us to consider the legacy we want to leave behind, both as individuals and as organizations.
It's about making a meaningful contribution to something, bigger than ourselves. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Creativity, Inc., what's the one thing you want our listener to take away from today's conversation?
I think Catmull's most important message is that creativity isn't like, some innate talent. It's a skill that you can develop through practice, perseverance, and embracing those failures as part of the process.
And that creating a culture where creativity flourishes takes a collective effort.
Absolutely.
It's about building trust, encouraging experimentation, and valuing those diverse perspectives.
It's about creating a workplace where people feel safe to take risks, to challenge the norm, and to really bring their authentic selves to the table.
That's how you unlock true creative potential, not just individually, but collectively. And with that, Catmull leaves us with this thought. What hidden problems are we afraid to acknowledge, and how can addressing them unlock our full potential?
It's a powerful question that encourages us to look inward, both individually and as organizations, to identify and address those hidden obstacles that might be hindering our creative growth.
It's about being brave enough to confront our creative blind spots and unlock our full creative potential. Until next time, keep those creative sparks flying.
Thank you for watching. If you're passionate about learning and want to level up your knowledge, make sure to hit that subscribe button. On our channel, we break down the best books into easy-to-digest summaries that will help you become smarter, think critically, and make better decisions. Don't miss out on your chance to grow and stay ahead.